Welcome everyone to our last virtual for 2022, which is crazy to think that New Year's is right around the corner. We will have our next virtual in January. We skipped December because of all the holiday festivities. And just for anyone who doesn't know Wonder Girls, we are a girls empowerment program for middle and high school girls. And we are in person at schools. I think everyone here is enrolled, so we're excited. And I don't think I need to go into explanation of what Wonder Girls is all about, but we're growing and we're excited. We want to be in more schools, and we want to work with more girls. So any connections anyone has, feel free to introduce us. And we're just so excited for tonight's virtual because Thanksgiving is 2 weeks away and Christmas is a month or a little over a month. And we have the most amazing chef with us tonight. I have had the pleasure of working with Chef Monti Carlo a couple of years now. We did a big food donation for Hurricane Maria, I believe it was. Yeah, a couple of years ago in Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. So I'm so grateful that you're with us. Chef Monti is just amazing in every way. I love her personality, and has a popular show on Netflix. She just moved from LA to Nashville. She has an incredible story that she's going to share with us, but she's also going to cook with us. So without further ado, I'm going to kick it off to Chef Monti.
Hi, friends. I'm actually a lot taller. This is how tall I am, okay? But I'm sitting down because I've been up since 3 a.m. deal. So it's so great to see you guys. If you don't have your camera on, I'm never going to forgive you. So please put it on, because when you ask something, all I get is like this weird hollow face instead of your beautiful face. So please turn on your camera if it isn't on and ask me anything, okay? I'm here to answer whatever questions you have. And today we're gonna be cooking one of my favorite, really cheesy, easy desserts that I grew up with in Puerto Rico, where I'm from. I'm never gonna stop talking about it. Do we have any Puerto Ricans hanging out today? Anyone? No? Is it just me? Perfect. So this is called Quesitos, which is Spanish for little cheeses. And it's a pastry that originated in Spain, but when Spain took over the island, they brought a lot of their cuisine, obviously, and it's beautiful. It's an incredible pastry that's made with like a puff pastry dough, and you mix this cream cheese with whatever, like sugar. Sometimes they have some guava paste, and then you just put it in the oven, and it grows into the most amazing, luscious, all these buttery layers with this creamy cheese. It's so bomb. It's perfect for breakfast with a little coffee. I don't know if you guys are into coffee yet. Get on it. It's awesome. I have it all day long when I make them. Now, the recipe that, I don't know how many of you are following along, the recipe that we're doing today makes about 9 quesitos, but when you buy your puff pastry, this is a puff pastry sheet. Here, I'm gonna show you. And you get 2 sheets in a box. This is called a laminated dough. And that just means that when they were making the dough, they put a bunch of butter in, and then they would fold the dough and roll it out, put more butter in, fold the dough and roll it out. And when you bake it, all of those layers, the butter starts melting in between the layers, and it creates this puffing up process because of the steam escaping, and that's how you get all these flaky layers. Like if you've had a croissant, that's a laminated dough. Okay. Now, make sure that
so it's called laminated dough. Like if you go to the supermarket, it actually says that.
This is a puff pastry, and you can find it in the freezer aisle of your grocery store.
On the table?
Yeah, it's frozen. And When you're going to use it, just take it out the night before, put it in the refrigerator, and it thaws out really well. You don't want to thaw it out at room temperature because it melts, and then you lose all your beautiful layers. You don't want to do that. So keep it in the fridge, thaw it out, and then when you're ready to work with it, that's when you take it out. A lot of times the dough comes, I don't know if you can see this, but it comes dusted with a bunch of flour because you don't want it sticking together. But you're going to want to go ahead when you're working with it and take a very little pinch of flour and just dust your workstation on it, rub your hands in it to make sure you get flour grains all over it. And that's going to help keep your dough from sticking in or on top of your workstation. Now, when it comes to cutting laminated dough, you're going to want to make cuts that go straight down. So you're going to take a chef's knife, and I'm going to show you how to hold this because a lot of people don't know how to hold a chef's knife. I don't know if you realize that the blade is actually shaped like a rocking chair. And this is called the tip, and this is the heel of the blade. And the proper way to hold a knife, it's not like this, that's for serial killers. Okay, you don't do that. You're going to pinch the blade between these two fingers, your thumb and what is this one called? The index finger? I'm nailing it. And then you're going to wrap the last three fingers on your hand around the handle. And that's how you hold a knife. It's an extension of the bones in your arm. And that way, if you're doing a lot of cutting for Thanksgiving, maybe you're going to be helping out in the kitchen, cutting onions or veg. It won't hurt your wrist. And the way that you actually use a knife isn't by this. You know, when you see like TV or movies and they're chefs and they're like, that's nonsense, okay? You're gonna use a knife with a stroke. And the stroke is from the tip to the heel, like this, okay? I don't know if you guys can see that. That's one stroke. And then another stroke is called the pull stroke. And that means you start with the tip and you pull back, right? So there's, you know, if we ever do this again, I'll show you all sorts of different knife skills. But today, the knife skill that we're going to use is a chop that's straight down, because you don't want to pull the knife through the dough because it's going to ruin your layers. Now, when you have puff pastry, those of you that are cooking along, you're going to see that there's actual seams in the dough because it comes folded up. And we're going to follow those seams. Again, we're not going to pull down. We're going to cut straight down those seams to create 3 strips of dough. Okay. And if they're stuck together, just cut again, just press straight down. There you go, boom. Now, each of these strips, we are going to cut into thirds. And I'm sure you guys know what a third is. So we're gonna go, let me see. I like to do like the little lines before I actually cut just to make sure they're even, but that's only because I have issues. Okay, so we're gonna do this. Right? You notice how I'm cutting straight down and I'm rocking the knife from the tip to the heel. I'm not pulling the knife. I'm going to do it again on this one. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about your oven, especially because so many of us are going to be baking for the holiday.
Giselle, come and eat.
So when you are baking for the holiday, one of the things that I highly recommend that you invest in is a cheap little oven thermometer. They cost about $3 because most ovens do not run at temperature. Just because it says 350 on the knob, or you put 350 onto the digital dial, it doesn't mean it's actually 350. A lot of ovens can be off, sometimes by up to 50 degrees. So when you have one of these little tiny thermometers that you just hang in your oven, you just open the door very quickly and you can tell right away if the temperature is the correct temperature. That's really going to kick your cooking game up major notches. Okay, now that we have this dough cut up, we're going to line a sheet pan with either parchment or a silicone baking mat. If you do a lot of baking, I recommend the silicone baking mats because they last forever. They're easy to clean, and there's not a lot of waste. We're gonna go ahead and lay our dough out on these mats, and we're gonna put it in the fridge while we create our filling. Now, why are we putting it in the fridge? Can anyone guess? You guys are very quiet, and that's unnerving.
How about the girls cooking? Can you guess why she's putting them in the fridge?
Because she said the flavor would go away if it wasn't cold.
Okay, you nailed that. I love it. I'm gonna make sure that the butter does not melt. So we're putting this in the fridge.
Great job, Bailey. I didn't know that. I don't cook. I do cook, but I'm not really good at it. My daughter Dundee's here. She's the cook.
Right now.
She teaches me even how to hit garlic.
So you're gonna have to use that pan. What's the pan?
Now, we are gonna make our filling, and our filling for Quesitos is just cream cheese. You're gonna wanna make sure that your cream cheese is at room temperature. Just leave it out on the counter for a couple of hours. And if you have to do this and it's right from the refrigerator, go ahead and take the cream cheese out. You can put some boiling water in a bowl that is big enough to cover the cheese. Take the water out once it heats up the bowl, and then just cover it. And the heat from the bowl will soften the cheese. You can do the same thing with butter. But this has been out for about an hour, so we're gonna use it. And it's just 8 ounces of cream cheese. I love Philadelphia cream cheese. It just works really well. And we're going to just press a fork. You don't need any special tools. I'm just gonna press a fork and really start spreading the cheese through our bowl. And start working it. You're gonna need to use your elbow grease on this. Start working it until my dog is under the table and she's like, "What's up? Is that for me?" Okay. You're gonna start working the cheese until it softens even more. Okay. Once it has like a nice soft consistency and it's spread out all over the bowl, we are gonna add a couple of ingredients to flavor it. One of my favorite things to use to flavor anything is the zest from a citrus fruit. So a lime, an orange, a grapefruit. Today we're going to be using a lemon. Anytime that you're going to be eating a fruit like this, take the zest off, okay? You can do it with like a vegetable peeler and do it in strips. Today we're going to do it with what's known as a microblade. If you have a box grater at home, you can use a small side of the box grater where you grate like small Parmesan cheese to zest your lemon. And you can put this and dry it. You can put it in dressings, you can put it in desserts, you can do it in sauces and all sorts of stuff. And you can even put it down in your kitchen sink and it helps refresh your kitchen sink, because sometimes it can smell real funny. Now, if you've never used a microblade, you're just going to do 1, 2, and I want you to notice that I only have the very top layer of the lemon, okay? That's where all the citrus oils are. That's where all the flavor is, actually. So you don't want to get the white part. The white part is called the pith, and it tastes about as good as it sounds. So don't go that deep. It's just very surface, very light. You're just gonna go and turn the lemon as you run the micro in one direction. I love that band. all across the lemon. And you're gonna harvest this incredible zest full of citrus oil that will give your cream cheese this incredible flavor, a natural flavor, and it's pretty much free. I mean, you were gonna throw out that skin anyway if you use the lemon. Of course, you can still use this lemon, so don't throw it out. We just wanna harvest that zest, okay? We're gonna go ahead and put that zest into our bowl with the cheese. Use every little bit of it. Okay. And then we are going to add an egg yolk to our bowl. That egg yolk is going to add fattiness, richness, and also a touch of color because yolks are yellow. And they're wonderful. Now, I'm going to show you guys how to crack an egg. I bet you think that you should crack an egg on the side of a bowl. What that actually does is introduce little pieces of shell into the egg. And many times that shell can be contaminated. So it's best to crack an egg on a flat surface, okay? And we're gonna separate this egg. What we're gonna do is we're going to separate the yellow part from the white. So we're gonna crack it. We're gonna bust it open. And then we're gonna use our hands. And you're gonna see, do you see that? It'll look gross, but it's so great. That the white is gonna separate from the yellow. You don't really have to do much. It's just gonna do it on its own because of gravity. And then we're just gonna put the yellow in a separate bowl. That's it. We did that. Pretty good, right? Okay. You should always have a towel with you when you're cooking because it's a dirty sport, but it's worth it. All right. We are gonna reserve this egg white because we're gonna use it as a glue. But first, we're gonna add this yellow to our bowl of cream cheese with a little bit of vanilla. We're gonna use about 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And if you can, try to get pure vanilla extract. Don't get the stuff that is pretends to be extract because that's all really just like flavoring and it evaporates with the heat. We're putting these in the oven. So you want something that's oil-based, like a pure vanilla extract. And then we're just gonna do a pinch of salt. Now we do salt because anytime you have something sweet, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but you want to have a little bit of saltiness in there because it actually helps bring those flavors forward. You don't want something that's so sweet that you don't, that's all you taste is the sugar. You want to be able to taste the creaminess of the cheese, that zest that we just put in, those high notes, those zesty notes, those citrus notes. So we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of salt in. That's just a pinch. If anyone ever asks you, what's a pinch? You're literally gonna go into the bowl. I'll show you, I have a bowl here. You go into your bowl with 3 fingers, and that's a pinch. Okay. Now, obviously this is dessert. We're gonna need some sugar. So we have a 1/3 cup of sugar here. Now that we have all of our flavoring ingredients, we have the vanilla, we have the lemon, we have the egg yolk, we have the sugar. We're gonna go ahead and do what's called creaming the cheese. And that means that the granulated sugar is going to be cutting through this cheese and creating little tiny air pockets. And those air pockets will actually lighten the cheese. So go ahead and just use a fork. You don't need anything special for this. You do need some elbow grease though. And just start stirring it up until everything is nice and incorporated. You don't want to see any big chunks of cheese. You don't want to see any stringy parts of egg. Arms day. Okay. When it's nice and mixed up, this beautiful smooth texture, which is not what that looked like 30 seconds ago. Isn't that cool? Science. Okay. And now that you have your filling ready to go, we are going to take our dough out of the fridge. So if you're cooking along, let's get that ready and take it out of the fridge. I've outdone myself. And we are going to put about, just about like a nice heaping tablespoon. Okay, this is a soup spoon, but if you have an actual tablespoon, use that. But this works just fine. You're just going to take about this much. It's not science, okay? Cooking is fun. It doesn't have to be super rigid. And we're just going to drop right in the middle. I'm going to show you here. I'm going to drop some cheese right in the middle. Ooh, someone's. Okay. I want to make sure that you see how that is. Do you see how that's going there? Right in the middle. And we're going to do that for every single square that we have. Now, because we used a whole block of cheese, if you're following along and you bought the puff pastry, you can go ahead and do the same thing with the second sheet of puff pastry if you want. What I usually do, because I will eat everything that I make because these are so good, and that's not a good look. So what I usually do is I put the cream cheese that I've made, the filling, what's left of it, and I store it, and then I make another round the next day because they go fast because it's yummy. So we're just gonna put a heaping spoonful, and then I'm gonna show you how to fold a quesito. Now listen, you don't have to fold it, okay? There's a couple of tricks that you can do. You're gonna put this cheese in. If you want, you can take a fork and you can just trace a line around the edges, like a square, like a rectangle around the edges, like so. I'm going to show you what that looks like. And that will help create an open-faced quesito. Now, if you're doing the open-faced quesito, can you guys see that? We're going to add a little more cream cheese to it because it's looking a little empty, you know? I'm just gonna not go crazy with it, but we're gonna wanna spread it out a little. It's gonna spread naturally as the heat hits it. And what those holes are gonna do, they create like a boundary. And everything past the holes in the border is gonna fluff up really big. But because the cheese is on top of that middle part, it won't fluff up. Now, the second way to do this is to take that egg white that we had reserved. I'm just going to take a fork and we're going to beat this egg white. And we're going to do it until it runs through the tines of the fork in a straight, uninterrupted line. You see how I'm trying to make it run and it just keeps clumping up? It's not ready. I'm just going to go ahead. It's going to get a little frothy. That's what you want. I see you cooking along and I love it. Good job. Okay, now it's starting to a little bit. All right. Now you see how it's starting to run. Let's see if I can get a little closer to the phone so you can see it. It's starting to run in a straight line. Okay. It's about ready to go. Booyah. Now we're going to we can take our fingers or we can take a pastry brush. I just use my finger and I dip it into the egg white. And this is what we're going to do. We are going to add, we're going to hold it like a diamond, right, in our palm. And we're going to add to the bottom corner of the diamond a little bit of egg white. And then we are going to fold the top corner over the cheese, like so. You guys see that? And then we're going to fold the bottom corner like that. So you're going to get this cute little looking thing. And I'm going to do that again for you, just in case you're following along. So we're going to turn it in our palm like a diamond, and you don't have to do it in your palm. You can do it on your surface. I'm doing it on my palm so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to take a little bit of that egg white and we're going to put it on the bottom corner. We're going to take this corner, fold it over the cheese, and then do it again. Boom. So just a few different ways, whatever you want to do, really. I like to sometimes do it both ways and have like 4 with the dots around it with lots of cheese. And then I like to have some that are folded. Now, just make sure that when you put these in the oven, that your oven is preheated to 400 degrees. And don't forget my tip about making sure that the oven is at temperature, because puff pastry is no joke. It is not going to be stoked if you put it in an oven that's cold. That butter is going to melt and then your layers aren't going to puff. And while that will still taste good, it won't look as yummy. Remember, the first way that we eat isn't with our mouths, it's with our eyes. Now I have a question for you guys. Do you know what sense we use to taste with?
Smell.
What?
Smell.
You are on your game tonight. Yes, 80% of your taste is in your nose. That's why you see chefs always over a hot pot going like this, because 80% of your taste comes from your nose. Good job, Bailey. All right, these are ready to go. I'm gonna add a little more cheese to this one because it's looking a little lonely. All right, and when you're ready, we're gonna put them in our oven for 10 minutes. Then we're gonna rotate the sheet pan. When I say rotate the sheet pan, if you're putting it into the oven like this, once that 10-minute timer goes off, you're gonna take it out and you're gonna put the part that was in the front in the back. And the reason that you do that is that ovens have areas that are hotter than other areas. So in order to get an even color and an even cook, you should always rotate your pan halfway through the cook. Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes. All right, while those are baking, does anyone have any questions for me? Okay. Well,
What about our chefs here? Lola, Bailey, do you have any questions?
how long have I been cooking?
Hi, I wanted to ask, I'm sorry, I wanted to ask the bread, the flour that you use, the dough, what's the like name, the brand name? I couldn't get that at the beginning.
Here, I'll show you the box. So it's called Puff Pastry, and it comes with many different brands. I use Pepperidge Farm because it's the one that's most widely available. You can get much fancier ones if you want, but this one works just fine for me. Puff Pastry, and when you take it out, you see in this little paper pocket.
Oh, okay, thank you. Oh, thanks.
I'm done, I got it. Okay, great. Now, one of you asked me, put this back in my freezer. One of you asked how I got started cooking, and that's actually an interesting story. So I'll spend a little time telling you about it because this is an empowerment group for young women. And I do have a great story. Obviously, I am also a woman, but once upon a time, I was a young woman like you. And what I wanted to do more than anything else was I wanted to be a food TV host on Food Network. I actually went to school to learn how to do broadcast television, how to host TV. And I enrolled in a 6-week course. But on the 3rd day of school, I was run over by a dump truck. I was in my car, I got T-boned, and they had to use a jaws of life to cut me out. I was in a coma for about 2 weeks. And when I woke up, I had a punctured lung, I had 19 broken ribs. I didn't remember what year it was or what my little sister's name was. It was crazy. But I didn't want to miss my school because it was only 6 weeks and they weren't going to give me the money back if I missed it. So I checked myself out of the hospital as soon as I could stand. And I went to school and finished my course on broadcasting, basically popping a leaf like they were M&Ms. Hold on, my dog is eating my shoes. Dottie, I will destroy you. Don't do it. And what was I? Yeah, I forgot about food TV and I started working in radio. I did that for about 10 years. I got married, I started doing comedy, I started a family, I bought a home in Seattle. It was the most, excuse me, this dog is, I'm no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. She's testing me. Oh my gosh, she's just going, oh my God, Dottie? This is my dog, Dottie. And she does not behave. So she's gonna be sitting on my lap. Anyway, I ended up doing radio for a while. And then, you know, I forgot about food TV because I was very successful as a radio personality, as a stand-up comic as well. But then everything in my life sort of fell apart. And, you know, sometimes in life it's going to happen, ladies. Everything is going to fall apart, you know, and it did. And I decided, you know, since everything is a hot mess anyway, and I have nothing left to lose. I literally got divorced. I lost my home. I lost my job. I was on welfare. I was living in a tiny studio apartment in LA, like 350 square feet with my 2-year-old son. And I was like, I've got nothing left to lose. I might as well try to become a food TV personality. I didn't know how I was going to do it. And this is what's incredible about life, is you get these opportunities. And that's why I can't recommend enough that you always say yes. Say yes to any opportunity. I love the fact that you guys were given an opportunity to cook with me tonight and you said yes, because plenty of people didn't. Okay, so congratulate yourself for saying yes. I was so broke, I didn't know how I was going to make ends meet for rent. And my friend that lived upstairs said, hey, if you try out for a reality show, they have to give you $50 if you make it on camera. The very next day, there was an audition for a show called Master Chef with Gordon Ramsay. I had never seen the show. I was definitely not a master chef, but I thought if I could
Wait,
make
you
it.
met Gordon Ramsay? Sorry to interrupt. You met Gordon Ramsay before?
Gordon Ramsay's a good friend of mine.
Whoa. That's actually really cool.
He is very well. He is very well. But I didn't know him then, okay? And I went to this audition. I made a pie. I got accepted into Master Chef. But again, I only got accepted because I kept cracking up the producers, okay? Not because I knew what I was doing. So the producers were like, listen, you're very funny, but you obviously need to learn a little more about cooking if you're going to compete in the Master Chef kitchen with one of the world's most renowned chefs. So they gave me 6 weeks to, try and teach myself the basics of cuisine. Now, remember, I was broke. I didn't have the money to go to culinary school or to afford cooking classes. So I did what I had to do and I taught myself. You can learn absolutely anything you want to, especially this day and age, okay? I know that you guys don't even know, but once upon a time, we had the Dewey Decimal System, and that meant that we had to pull these long drawers out and fish through all these little note cards just to find an encyclopedia page. It was bananas. You guys just have to type in a couple of words into Google, and you can learn all sorts of great stuff. So take advantage of that. I did, and I taught myself how to cook. And when it came time to audition for Master Chef, I had one shot. 10,000 people had auditioned that year. There were only 16 spots in the Master Chef kitchen. So I didn't think I was going to get into the kitchen. I just wanted that $50 that I was going to get for being on camera. But I had spent a lot of time trying to teach myself how to cook. And I was hopeful that maybe I could get a couple of days in the Master Chef kitchen. And actually, if you go on YouTube and you look up Monti Carlo Master Chef audition, you can see the moment that my entire life changed. And it was only because I said yes. I walked into the kitchen where Gordon Ramsay was. I made him one of my favorite dishes that my grandmother taught me how to make when I was very little. It was a Puerto Rican dish called pastelón, which is sort of like a lasagna, but it's made with, instead of pasta sheets, it's made with thin layers of ripe plantain. And he loved it. And I was one of the very lucky 16 people that got to compete in the Master Chef kitchen. And I was definitely not the best cook in the Master Chef kitchen. Remember, I had just taught myself like 6 weeks before. And a lot of the people that I was competing against had been cooking for many, many years. But what you lack in experience, and I really want you to hear this, what you lack in experience, you can really make up for with determination. Sometimes, many times, it's not the most talented people that make it, it's the people that are the most determined. And I am one of those people. I'm sure that you guys are some of those people as well, because you're here tonight and you said yes. And that means that you are determined to empower yourselves. So congratulate yourselves again for doing that. That's awesome. Long story short, out of the 10,000 people that auditioned, I made it into the top 16. And then I spent the next 9 weeks cooking for my life in Gordon Ramsay's kitchen. Oh, it's time to turn the quesitos. Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes. 10 minutes, starting now. Alexa, stop. Oh, those look very pretty. Okay, where was I? Well, let me pick up this dog because she's gonna get it. Now I see. Look at her, she's so mad she can't eat my shoes. Hilarious. Anyway, every day that I went into that kitchen, I wasn't trying to be the best. I was just trying to make it through, okay? And I did. I made it through all the way to the top 5. Now, I was very, very broke at that time in my life, and I really wanted the prize money. We get like $250,000 if you won, and you got a cookbook deal, and they would fly you all over the country to do all these food demos if you won. I didn't win. But what I also didn't do was give up. You should never, ever, ever give up on your dream or give up on yourself. And even though pretty much everyone that competed against me in that kitchen said, you can't cook, you're just a mom that memorizes recipes, you don't know anything about cuisine, you're a fluke, you're a hack. I mean, they called me all sorts of names. Even though all these people bet against me, I bet on myself. So I want you to hear that. It does not matter what someone thinks of you or what someone says that you are or you are not. What matters is what you think of yourself and who you think you are and who you think you want to be and how much you're willing to put into creating those dreams and making them a reality. That is all that matters. The whole game is up here and in here, in your heart. Is that what your heart is, or is it this side? I don't know. Anyway, I left the MasterChef kitchen. I was still broke. I was still living in a tiny little studio apartment, but I decided that I wanted to pursue my dream to be a food TV personality. And I started working in restaurants. Unfortunately, when you work in a restaurant kitchen, you don't make a lot of money and you're not going to get hired without a lot of experience. So I offered to work for free 2 days a week in restaurant kitchens. And then 5 days a week, I would waitress the breakfast shift and the lunch shift. So I never had a day off. I didn't have a day off for many, many years. I was working so much that my shoe size changed. It went from an 8.5 to an almost 10. That's how swollen my feet were, but I didn't give up. I started watching food TV and learning and writing down, okay, this is how they describe the food. This is how they sit. This is how these TV hosts do this and that. And I taught myself how to be a food TV host. Again, still working and teaching myself how to cook. At night, learning how to be a TV host. And then I got the opportunity to host a food show for a network called FYI. And it was just one episode. It was called Make My Food Famous. And I got to host, it took 2 days to film. And as soon as I was filming it, I knew that this was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Sometimes when you do something and it feels so right, that's exactly where I was at with that. And I decided I have to work harder if I'm gonna make this dream come true. So even though I was working so hard already, I started working even harder and catering, learning more about cuisine, reading cookbooks cover to cover. And I want you to hear this. I'm not bragging, okay? I'm showing you it takes a lot of hard work, but you can do it. Don't be scared of hard work because that's what shapes you. Do you ever hear that phrase, stay ready? That's what life is all about. Stay ready, prepare, because you never know when you're going to get a lucky break. And I did. About a year later, I got a call from Food Network, which was the place that I had dreamed of working at since I was your age, basically. I got a call from the head of Food Network. They wanted me to audition. They had seen that one episode that I had done, that one episode that aired one time. They had seen it. And they wanted me to audition for a show called Help My Yelp. And I was ready. And I nailed my audition and I got the show. And since that day, I've been able to host shows on Food Network, on Cooking Channel, on PBS. I have a new show on Netflix called Easy Bake Battle. I've worked with Gordon Ramsay. I've gotten to cook in Gordon Ramsay's house. I almost burned it down. That's a long story, but it's okay. I've had a lot of incredible opportunities. I've gotten the chance to write for Bon Appetit and all of these incredible food magazines. I've also just now signed a book deal with one of the biggest publications and publishing houses in the world, Simon and Schuster, and they want me to write about my story, about how I lost everything and taught myself how to cook and then managed to make it in food TV. So do you see what's crazy there is that the worst thing that ever happened to me, like the lowest I've ever been in my whole life, I had no money, I lost my marriage, I lost my job, my kid, it was just like a hot mess. The most incredibly dark moment of my life was actually, I always get like, sorry. It was the biggest gift of my entire life. So when something bad is happening to you, when you're going through a tough time, take a step back and ask yourself, what's the gift? Because I guarantee you, there is a gift there. There is an opportunity there. Because if my whole life hadn't fallen apart, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I want to thank you for being here, for saying yes, for being a part of Wonder Girls, for knowing that being a part of this organization will help you become stronger women, more accomplished women. I love that about you already. And I just want you to remember that nothing that happens in life is a bad thing. It all depends on how you look at it. Okay? And I think our quesitos are almost ready. I'm gonna let go of this dog, and if she tries to eat my very expensive boots, it's gonna be on. Okay. Oh, thank you, Annie. I appreciate that. You guys can talk. That's always fun because I don't see anything. I just see like this, like, I don't know what that is. It's like a circle and a shoulders. Let's see what we got going on here. Oh my goodness, they're perfect. I'm so good at this. All right. Turn this off. Don't forget to turn your oven off. Look how beautiful. Let's get a little plate here. Okay. This is a big plate, but I'm going to take one of these. I want to show you how these turned out. Can you see? And then the last thing that you can do if you want, this is how we do it in Puerto Rico. We take a little bit of powdered sugar and we just dust it over the top. Oh, yes.
I wish I could just lean in and grab one right now.
It's so good. They're so warm. Ooh. And you know what's crazy is I'm gonna eat all of these. That's what's crazy. I'm doing it. Do you guys have any questions at all?
Does anybody have any questions, any comments? I mean, yeah, Christine just said they look amazing.
I want to
Thank
see
you.
if Lola and Bailey, yours are yours done yet?
I had to put mine in late, so mine are gonna be done in 7 minutes.
Hey,
Mhm.
Bailey, I'm just so impressed with you, Bailey. I love that you took this opportunity, that you're cooking along, that you're asking questions, that you're participating. And that to me just says that you are a strong, strong woman. And I can't wait to see what you're doing 10 years from now. I bet you're going to be running all sorts of stuff. You better hire me. Alexa, stop.
And Lola, what about you?
They're not done yet, but
Lola, thank you for cooking along. I really appreciate that. And thank you for being here and taking a time out of your day when you could be like watching TV or playing video games or whatever it is people your age do. I don't know. My child just stays in their room. I don't know what you do, but I mean, and instead you're learning how to make something and you're hopefully figuring out what it is that you want to do. I mean, do you want to cook? Is that what you want to do? Say yes, just lie to me. She's like, no. Well, what is it that you want to do? You don't know yet? Hey, that's cool. Listen, I was 36 when I figured out what I wanted to do. So don't let anyone rush you into anything. When it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Does anyone have any other questions?
I have a question about like when we're making them. Were we supposed to leave some of them open? Because I closed all of them.
It was up to you. It's whatever you want to do. I just wanted to show you both ways so you could see. I'm glad that you closed all of them because that's, traditionally how it's done in Puerto Rico. But this is kind of like the cheater's way. Do you know what I mean? It's easy. It looks like a little Pop-Tart. It works. It
Yeah,
works.
now that you told me that, I'm actually kind of happy because it represents like my culture too, because I'm Puerto Rican too.
Hey! Nice. I love that. Boricua. Very nice. Christine's like, I like the cheater's way. I love that. It's good to meet you. Thank you for being here.
So we have to figure out a way that you could come to us in person in New York or New Jersey and cook for like all of our Wonder Girls. Cause I feel like a lot of them missed out because this has been absolutely amazing. You are
I
incredible.
love that.
Your story is so inspiring and
Thank
so many
you.
more people need to hear it. So, and I'm excited for your book.
Well, I do have to actually meet with my agent and my book publisher in New York City sometime in December. So I'll keep you posted, okay, Natalie? And we'll see if we can make something happen. I'm game.
Absolutely. We absolutely will. So does anyone else have any questions, any comments?
I just want to say that it's really cool that you know Gordon Ramsay.
I think it's really cool. I know Gordon Ramsay too. He's actually going to be writing the foreword to my book, which is awesome. He actually just liked one of my posts on Instagram. And even though I've known him for 10 years now, I'm still like, oh my God, Gordon liked my post.
Chef Monti is a huge deal, ladies. I don't know if hopefully you watch the Food Network, you know what the Food Network is. Even NBC Today's show, a lot of you don't really watch TV, as you know, Chef, with your kids.
Yeah.
So everyone's on YouTube. They don't watch the actual networks, but
well, you can see me on Taste Made, and that's digital. And it also go to Gordon Ramsay's YouTube channel. I have a show on Gordon Ramsay's YouTube channel called Ramsay Redemption. So if you type Ramsay Redemption on Gordon's YouTube channel, it's like a 6-episode series that I did for him in his house, which is really cool. Yeah.
That's amazing. All right, we'll have to do that. And we're going to share this video with our other girls so that they can see. And if Does anyone else have any questions or comments? No, we're all good. All right. Well, I want to see pictures of finished products. So make sure you tag Wonder Girls on Instagram and Chef Monti as well on Instagram. And thank you so much for all your time. This was just amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you so much for what you do. I'm so excited that there's something like this exists now. And I wish that there had been something like this when I was, 14 or 15 years old. It's awesome what you guys are doing. And I hope that it just grows to where you have this organization in every city, in every state, because the need is definitely there. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Oh no, thank you. I appreciate you so much. And yes, we're gonna expand. We're gonna go national, international one of these days. So
yes,
we're there, right? Dream it with
yes,
determination. We'll get there.
absolutely.
All right, ladies, everyone, thank you so much for being on tonight's virtual. And our next one won't be until January, but you could go onto our YouTube channel. We have other virtuals that we've done in the past, and this one will be up either this week or next week. So I appreciate everyone and have a wonderful evening. I'll see you all soon.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Chef Monti. Bye.
Thanks, here.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.